Like, I never thought to myself, I'm gonna go to Africa and go broke. But it happened. I am broke. I moved to Tanzania with my family 1 year ago. Though I planned meticulously, it only took 1 year for me to go broke. My name is Empress Kino, and I'm dedicated to healing myself through visual storytelling and writing. When we first got here, I was still working just as much as I did when we lived in America. Because of that, we were living a very comfortable tourist lifestyle. Hi, yes, hello, it's us. We're out about exploring today. Today we're here in Masaki at the Sea Cliff Hotel. Including me trying out different investing experiments here in Tanzania. I tried out an office. It looks good, I like it. 2 Airbnbs located in the Mbezi Beach area of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. This brand new apartment is newly constructed, never occupied, and includes all new furniture and fixtures that you see, never used by anyone, as well as we purchased 2 cars. One of the best parts of living in a hardcore hustler society is I just got my car washed for 3,000 shillings, which is a little over $1. Lived in 2 different luxury compounds, still less than what we were spending for our townhome in Northern Virginia. Traveled to the islands, to the mountains, etc. How exciting. We got our letter. We were granted approval. And now we're going to do the last couple of steps. I believe we just have to do like fingerprints today and maybe a picture, yeah, to come back to pick up our like official card in a few days. So like, exciting stuff. How do you feel? After we got settled in and decided, okay, we are gonna stay here, I started feeling the exhaustion of all the activities I have been doing and decided to withdraw. So I opted out. Instead, like, my husband and I decided we want to get back to the basics of why we decided to move to Africa in the first place. And it wasn't because I wanted to still work as if I was in America for the foreseeable future. Because I've pretty much been living like a bucket list kind of lifestyle for the last few years.
There is an old saying that goes, choices have consequences. So I'm giving this concept based on the life of an African American who, after 1 year of moving to Africa, they went from top to rock bottom. After 1 year, this family of African Americans in Tanzania were really broke. So they were really broke because they made poor choices. You know, when you're in America, you are told Africa is cheap, Africa is this and that. Yes, Africa is cheaper. Let's do a comparison. Africa is cheaper than the United States. Africa ain't cheap. There's a very big difference to that. Okay? So they came here and they start living a very lavish life. A life that an average African won't live, because they just every day this, every day that, every now and then safaris, every now and then this and that. By all means, if you can afford it, just do it. But consequences are caused by choices. Choices have consequences. Here is something you need to consider when you are an African American who wants to move to Africa. Does not have to be Tanzania, does not have to be any other country, does not have to be a specific country. Any African country applies. You make the wrong choice, it's gonna be bad for you. Here's something you have to consider.
I made what I needed for the Airbnb, departed with people that no longer serve their purpose, and I cut my workload by 75%. Now, my focus is on 100% freedom. Habari za asubuhi. It is the first morning of my solo camping trip where I slept here outside by myself at night. And it was quite peaceful, to be honest. And that includes financial freedom. I currently operate on a zero-based budget. That means I am broke. I'm broke, baby. I ain't got no money. It's funny. This is so simple, but it just made me recall a memory when my husband and I were first starting to like get seriously dating. We used to take our kids to like this local
pier that was in the area we lived in, and we would just hang out for hours talking and feeding the turtles, letting the kids feed the turtles and the fish and all that in the pond. And I just kind of remembered that after not thinking about it for so long. And that's like,
over the last year, while I've been abroad, I still had like outstanding debts from the US that's been on auto pay, you know, student loans, credit card, whatever. Anybody who had permission to automatically debit what I owe them from my account every month has been doing that successfully for well over a year. Since I was working so much the way I normally did when I established all those different things, I didn't feel it, you know, like all of the creditors were getting paid timely the way they were supposed to, because I did create structure. Like I created accounts specifically for that reason before I left. That way I did not have to worry about the money being there. Living beyond, I'm really discovering who I am. Like I'm really finding myself.
question, who are you allowing to take up space in your life right now?
Now that I decided to live a life of ease, which includes working 75% less.
Beautiful today, bit of an overcast.
Since I currently live in a prepaid society, I do not have nearly the same amount of monthly rotation as I did when I lived in the US. I'm broke, baby. I ain't got no money. So like living here, we really only need day-to-day expenses for like food and electricity and phone service. I actually have the space to designate any and all income to my freedom, be that debt resolution, planning for the future and building new funds, or just maintaining the comfortable lifestyle that I'm choosing to live at this point in time. I'm dedicating any of my excess funds or income to debt resolution, so that way I can move forward in my life without having a student loan like most of the rest of the millennial Americans, as well as any credit card debt, because credit cards are like having access to credit is important, right? And it's also very useful. But at this point in time, since I don't operate on credit, I feel like there's no use to maintain credit as far as monthly payments. Like I should just clear out any balances and have the credit line available to me should I need to use it. But there's really no need for me to keep letting them take a minimum monthly payment out of my account when I haven't even used the card in well over a year. I don't have anything at all right now beyond my needs being met, and I've never felt more liberated. I moved to Africa 1 year ago with my family, and it took me 1 whole year to figure out that I needed to go broke. Now that I've gone broke on purpose, I have so much more clarity as far as what is important. And the thing that is most important to me right now is freedom. Financial freedom, freedom with my time, freedom with my physical ability to move about the world, freedom with what I want to feel and think, where I want to be, freedom. Since we're living in a current lifestyle that has much less financial maintenance than my previous lifestyle, I'm very excited to see what the next year holds for me. Now that I know I'm going to be contributing all of my efforts to resolving any type of past debts or obligations, baggage, weight that will be carried with me unless I resolve it, I'm really excited to see what the next level up is going to feel like. Like I never thought to myself, I'm going to go to Africa and go broke. But it happened. Thankfully, it happened on purpose, because I don't want to be in a position where I don't have what I need, no matter where I am, be it in Africa, be it in America, be it in Europe, be wherever it is I decide to go. I want to be able to know that my needs are met. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't blindly jump into saying, hey, I'm going to spend every last penny I have. No, there's structure. That means there's an emergency fund. That means there's still funds for bills to be paid. But I don't have any pocket money. That means there's no money for me to just do whatever it is, because I already have a fund for that as well. So like everything has a designated space. So there's just no willy-nilliness that came along with the lifestyle of being a tourist, where I just spent whatever it is I felt like spending because I knew I had it and I knew I could make it back, and it really wasn't a big deal. And though that still may be true, I've started to value my time significantly more, as well as my labor and my energy. So just because I know I have the ability to turn my time or my energy into a capitalistic gain doesn't mean I have to do that. And that's a lot of what it took me the full year to learn, like the slowing down from the American lifestyle into the pole lifestyle. It really took a full year for that to really take effect. Because like I would say that first 3 to 6 months, you know, I'm in full tourist mode. Then 6 to 9 months, I'm discovering all the things I don't like. And then 9 to 12 months, I'm deciding if I want to stay here for, you know, additional time. So now that I've conquered all those different phases of like the delusional excitement to what the hell is this to, oh, okay, this is life. I've been able to now step back even further and see what it is else that I would like to accomplish in this phase of life. He decided to make the move to Africa to have more time freedom, like to have that more freedom to be together, tangibly spend time and gain experience. But since I've been here, another thing I've definitely learned to prioritize is my energy. There's so much energy to be reserved if you choose to reserve it. And right now, I'm giving big main character energy. All of the additional energy is for me. For my creativity, for my self-expression, for my self-love, for my growth, for my development. It's all for me. I'm not giving it to any more of the capitalistic giants. Well, I am for now until I resolve all of the obligations that it is that I built for myself. You know, because it would be not wise to just let things go. But it also wouldn't be wise to continue to maintain a lifestyle from a previous life when I'm fine in my current life. In the 1 year that I've spent tinkering with investment ideas in Tanzania, I did have a lot of failures, but I also had a few successes.
Here's something you have to consider. Moving to Africa can be a transformative experience for individuals seeking a new environment and a cultural connection, which is very true. However, it is essential to address potential economic challenges, particularly for Black Americans, to ensure a sustainable transition. While not everyone may face financial difficulties, various factors contribute to the possibility of going broke when living carelessly in the continent of Africa. Of course, not everyone. People have different earning capabilities, but I'm speaking of the average Joe. I'm speaking of the average Mary. This is who I'm speaking of, you know. Firstly, the economic landscape in African countries can differ significantly from that in the USA. Infrastructure, jobs, and financial systems might not align with that individuals are accustomed to. An individual is accustomed to that infrastructure, job, everything about USA. You come to Africa, you find things different. In Africa, you might be paying a room for the same room here in Africa. You're paying it in USA a very large amount. Here in Africa is cheaper, but not everything is cheap. That is my key point here, you know. So without a stable source of income, financial sustainability becomes a concern. Once you're in Africa, at least if you are having those retirement plans for African Americans, if you have a business, you can do a business. And the other time I did an interview about how you as an African American can have a business here in Africa and the requirements. I've done a video on that. I've done a live stream and I've also done a video. Be sure to check it out. So additionally, culture and lifestyle adjustment can impact financial decisions. Living carelessly without a thorough understanding of local cost of living and financial practices may result in overspending, and this is what we are trying to avoid, you know. This lack of financial awareness can lead to rapid depletion of resources, contributing to financial instability. So moreover, the absence of a robust social safety net in some African countries can exacerbate financial risks. In the USA, various welfare programs provide a safety net for citizens facing economic hardships. Here in Africa, when it's bad, it's bad. We don't have those welfare groups where if it goes bad, you can always go somewhere and have some money from the government. No, here it's between you and God. It's between you and God. You have it, you lose it, you face it. So, okay. However, such systems may be less developed or unavailable in some African countries. I'm speaking of Kenya now. Kenya, we don't have such programs. Kenya, maybe if a celebrity will say, hey, we have a black American who's gone broke, kindly donate something for him. But that is not, people won't donate for you as the government will. The government is not their money. Individuals' money is different from the government's money. I hope you get my point. So furthermore, the absence of comprehensive financial education and planning can hinder long-term financial stability. Inadequate knowledge about local markets, investment opportunities, and effective budgeting may lead to a poor financial decision. So Black Americans moving to Africa should prioritize acquiring financial literacy to navigate the economic landscape successfully. Always do your research. I'm always telling you, you go to an African country, you want to come to an African country, just pay a plane ticket to visit, see for yourself if you can vibe in. If you can't vibe in, then you can always seek some other African countries. We have 54 of them. You can always seek another country. Out of these 54, you'll always find somewhere where you vibe in. Don't come and stay before doing your research. Do your research. Do your research. Know the cost of living of each country. Do your research. So, this is now a conclusion. With the prospect of moving to Africa, which is exciting, it is essential for Black Americans to approach the transition with careful consideration of economic factors, job dynamics, cultural differences, and a lack of financial safety nets can contribute to financial challenges when living carelessly. Carelessly means overspending. Overspending is very relative to each individual. So we each know our limits, and we each know when it is time to say quit, when it's time to say, hey, I don't want to do this, I don't want to buy this and that. We all know our limits. Financial overspending is relative as per individual. But my message is for the average Joe and average Mary. Yes. So by prioritizing financial literacy and making informed decisions, individuals of African American decency can enhance their chances of building a sustainable and prosperous life in Africa. And that is all I'm wishing for you, my subscribers, to live a prosperous life here in the continent of Africa, because I value you, Africans, we value you, so we want to make sure you, an African American, makes the right decision. For this reason, and also as a part of making the right decision, do subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out on interesting and important things that you might need when you move to the continent of Africa. Also support me on Patreon. Be a member, donate whichever thing the Most High has prompted you to help me with. This helps me bring content to you. So thank you so much, and thank you for watching and making it to the end. Yes.